Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm here with Garrett, and today we're going to be talking about various horror movies from the 20s, I guess, through somewhat through the 50s, with a focus on obviously Universal monster movies, because you know the most about them, and you've seen all the sequels. You've seen
Yes.
every single one, right?
Yes, unfortunately so. I've seen
Every
all of
single
them.
one? How
I,
many are there?
there's about 35.
Yeah, that's in that box set, right? Are they all in the box set?
Yeah, yeah. I actually recently got the Blu-ray box set and it looks wonderful.
Well, yeah, they're probably going to do a 4K one eventually, too.
Yeah.
They keep releasing these movies like every year, like just re-releasing them. But wait, no, but is it every single movie? Because isn't there like ones that are like what the heck is the one with what's his face, the Creeper? Is that Universal? That's not in the box set.
There are like some like the old Dark House or
Yeah,
like The
that's not in there.
Raven. Those are universal, but they're not
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
include them because actually I just looked up a list and the list I had was 35 and it was all the monsters plus their sequels. So I didn't
Yeah, the
count like
sequels, yeah, because
yeah.
then there's got to be hundreds of them.
Yeah, I didn't count The
You count
Raven
all
or
of
The Old
them,
Dark House, which are good films, I might add.
and the Black Cat.
Black Cat is great.
Two Black Cats though. Actually, no, is there two or three? No, there's two Ravens. The other one's with Vincent Price, but there's two Black Cats. Both of them have Lugosi in them, but the second one's really bad. All right, so let's start, I guess, at the beginning because there's a lot of movies. So there's obviously a lot of silent movies, which like mostly weren't American. Like the big ones that people think about, which is what Caligari and Nosferatu, those aren't American. Phantom of the Opera is American, but there's a difference because when they made Phantom of the Opera, and I'm so nerdy about this, they the original horror movies before Dracula, like they didn't want them to have any supernatural stuff in them. Do you know about this?
I did not know.
Yeah, they didn't think American. I don't know what it was because they had a print of Nosferatu in like 1927 that they brought over from Germany, and everybody loved it. But they didn't think that either audiences could handle it, or they thought that audiences were to think it was too ridiculous and not be able to watch it. And I think because they brought Nosferatu over, which was supernatural, once that was accepted, then they thought it would be a good idea that they could add it in, supernatural elements into it.
Hmm.
But Phantom of the Opera and Hunchback of Notre Dame, those aren't supernatural films with Lon Chaney. He's
Right,
just disfigured. He's not an actual like supernatural creature. He's just a disfigured human.
right.
So that was how they were made like originally. And then also there was a movie called The Cat Creeps. Do you know about this one? The Cat Creeps.
I do not, unfortunately, know.
It was a remake of a silent movie called The Cat and the Canary, and technically it's the first Universal sound horror movie before Dracula. Because it's not supernatural, it's basically Scooby Doo. They walk around a haunted house, and some hand comes out and grabs them, and then
Nice.
it's a guy in a suit. But it's not. It came up before Dracula in 1930. It was sound, but it's lost,
Okay.
and it's not supernatural, so it doesn't technically count. Dracula still counts as the first one because before Dracula, they still weren't making movies that were supernatural yet. So
Right.
that one. So let's start. Okay, there's a lot of movies here. Let's start. I'm not going to do all the silent ones because there's just too many. So I thought the big three were Caligari, Nosferatu, and Phantom of the Opera. And then there's two more I want to talk about. We talked about the Cat Creeps already, so I can cross that off. But I also want to talk about London After Midnight because that's kind of important, even though that's also lost. All right, so you've seen Caligari, right?
That one I still need to see, but I've seen Nosferatu and Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, so I'll talk. So Caligari basically is, if you watch that movie, it's basically just like Tim Burton. Like he just ripped off. Like if you watch Caligari, it's just his style, the whole movie.
Okay.
You're supposed to just watch that movie and basically just said, I'm just going to take this. Because everything's all twisted up, it's all a set, so all the buildings are all crossed up and mangled. Um, it's good. It's not my favorite. I mean, I like it a lot, and the 4K is pretty cool to have, but there's no Nosferatu 4K yet, which is weird. But the Caligari one is cool. It's a good movie, and it has what's
Nice.
his face in it, Conrad Veidt, who was in all those movies.
He was the man who laughs, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, he's a weird one because he was one of their original choices for Dracula, but he didn't want to do it because he didn't understand the English language.
No
He
shit.
dropped out. But he was basically him and Lon Chaney were kind of like the original horror actors, except one was American, one was in Germany, because he was the inspiration for the Joker because he was in The Man Who Laughs.
Yeah, yeah.
But he's kind of technically the original Joker, sort of, which is kind of cool. And he was also in the 1940 remake of Thief of Baghdad, so he was the inspiration for Jafar in the Disney movie.
No shit. I didn't know that.
So his which is it's kind of sad he's kind of forgotten, He's basically the original versions of you know, he inspired two of those villains, which is pretty cool. Because his Jafar in Thief of Baghdad, I think, is way cooler than the animated one, but whatever.
Right.
He's done up in tan makeup, let's just say. They make him very tan in that movie, so I don't know if that would fly. But he's really good in it.
Mm-hmm.
Really
I'll
good.
check that one out then.
Yeah, that's Pal and Pressburger. Well, not Pal and Pressburger, just Michael Pal. I post a lot of their stuff on Twitter. The red shoes and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Michael Pal did that. So it's got that Technicolor. I don't think it's Jack Cardiff, though. I think somebody else did Technicolor, but it looks really cool, and the genie is cool too. How they did the special effects in that movie. All right, so that's Caligari you didn't see. So I guess we'll talk about Nosferatu. You wanna talk about that first?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, so what do you want to say about that? I mean, I think that's probably the best horror movie ever made, but I don't. It's weird saying that because the movie's 101 years old.
Well, here's the thing. I respect silent films. I don't really watch them often. I really haven't dabbled in nearly as many silent films as I
No, I haven't
should.
either. I haven't seen that many. I've only
But
seen maybe 10.
that's probably my favorite one of the ones I've seen because it is very eerie, very creepy, just spooky, and I just really love the way it's shot. I love Max Schreck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's very
yeah,
creepy. It's just I just with silent films, I just think they drag. That's my problem with them. So
yeah.
like
I mean that. I mean it. Yeah, that is a criticism, but I don't think. I think of all the silent movies I've probably ever seen, which is not that many.
yeah,
I think Nosferatu is probably the most accessible silent film I've ever seen.
that's fair. Yeah,
I mean, it just goes by. And also, what's weird is that he's only in the movie for 8 minutes,
yeah.
and it feels like he's in the movie for the whole time,
He has a presence,
which
that's for
is
sure.
really weird. I mean, usually because there's not that many. I mean, there's some classic films that have little screen time, like Hannibal Lecter has 8 minutes, I think.
He actually has
10 minutes
he has 13 or 15
to
minutes or
13.
something,
The
which
Wicked Witch of the West only has 10,
really,
which is shocking because I think half her scenes were cut out because they were too scary. So she only got 10 minutes. Obviously, a lot of the Disney ones only have a couple of minutes, they're not too long. Like the Queen only has 15 minutes or 10 minutes.
not the,
So, but
I was gonna say not to jump to modern movies, but are you excited for Robert Eggers' take on Nosferatu?
yeah, well, I mean, if they have to do it again, I think he's probably, yeah, that's a good choice to do it. I mean, I kind of wish they weren't doing it again. I kind of wish he would just make his own vampire movie.
Yeah,
I
no, I
don't think
get
it needs
that.
to. My only the thing I'm worried about the most about it, which is so stupid, is that when that movie comes out, there's going to be a lot of annoying people who say it's better than the first one, but whatever.
Yeah, you'll get those, unfortunately.
I can't. I hate that so much, but that's going to happen. But whatever. Because I don't. I mean, the first Nosferatu is so old at this point, and
Yeah,
the fact that it still works as well as it does, it's a great one to. I mean, if you really, because I know there were obviously lots of films before that, but if you really want to talk about why movies are the greatest thing ever, you just watch that. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's been over 100 years, and it's still great.
True,
So,
very true.
but it's also, I mean, it's also a fantasy because all these horror movies that we're going to be talking about up until the sci-fi ones in the 50s, I mean, they're very much fantasy films, which when, that this time period ended and you got into the 60s and stuff, they kind of shifted.
Mm-hmm.
They were done being fantasy films and they became more based off real life.
Yeah,
Psycho, Texas Chainsaw, The Exorcist. Well, Exorcist is debatable, but more realistic versions of what Rosemary's Baby,
Halloween.
Targets, Halloween. Yeah, all those horror movies are based in real life tragedy instead of fantasy, and I don't like those as much. I mean, those are good, but I kind of miss when they were just basically fantasy films.
Well, not to jump to my major point for why I love the Universal monster movies so much, but why I love them so much is because they have that perfect gothic atmosphere, like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy. They just really, I don't know how they made it happen, but they're just so gorgeous and they're just so ooze with gothic
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Well, and the reason why, I mean, I think the reason why it's like that, and why when they try to bring them back every time it doesn't work as well, is because those movies were made at the right time.
Yeah,
They're a product of their time.
yeah.
When people say, a movie's a product of its time, that usually is a negative. It doesn't have to be a negative thing.
Hmm.
When those movies came out, they were made at just the right time for them to exist because they're very heightened.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and they're also weird too because I don't think a lot of these horror movies. The only criticism I would have with a lot of them is that they tend to have a lot of characters in them that kind of just don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of like boring people that just like stand around and don't do much of anything. So I mean, I guess that could have been improved on, but no, you're not going to be able to capture the black and white, the height. I mean, like Claude Rains and the Invisible Man. Like, who's going to
Yes.
do a performance like that? You're never going to get that again.
Or those special
You
effects for that
can't.
time. Incredible.
Oh yeah, those hold up very well too. Yeah,
Incredible.
but the time period, the 1930s and the 20s, especially, and into the 40s. I don't know. It's just because by the end of the 40s, they were considered like a joke. But we'll get into that. So let's keep going.
Yes.
So we did Nosferatu, which I think is the best. Which is weird because you say this is the greatest horror movie ever made. They haven't made one better in 101 years, but whatever.
Yeah,
I
it's
still
great.
think it's probably the best.
It's
I
definitely
don't know.
great. I want to
But
rewatch it.
next is yeah. Hopefully they do a 4K of that. I want to watch it in 4K because I like that they fixed all the tinting and stuff like it was supposed to be.
Right.
You know, a lot of prints were just in black and white. It's not supposed to be black and white. It's supposed to be tinted. Even though he's walking around in broad daylight, it's supposed to be night, but whatever.
Yeah.
That part's a little funny when he's walking around, and you can still go there though. That's pretty cool.
That's
Those
cool.
locations where he was walking around because his castle is there and stuff. All that stuff is still there. Unlike the Universal ones where it was just sets. Because Nosferatu was different too. Because unlike all the other ones we're going to talk about, they just put the vampire in like the middle of like real life. It just threw him into like the city with everybody or whatever. Where the other ones are more atmospheric and stuff. Nosferatu was very atmospheric, but it was set in like the real world.
Yeah, yeah.
Without having all the fake stuff going on, they just dropped freaking Max Shrek right in the middle of the street and just said, "Walk around with your coffin,"
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty funny. So let's do Phantom of the Opera. You've seen that one, the Lon Chaney one. Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. Like I said, I respect it more than I like it. I unfortunately have seen that famous reveal scene where his mask is taken off and it's that shot of his face. I saw it before I saw the movie, so that wasn't much of a
That's the best part of
surprise.
the whole movie.
It
Yeah,
is the
that's
best part.
of the whole film.
I like that Lon Chaney does his own makeup. I think that's super cool because it looks fucking gnarly.
Oh, his makeup in that movie is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, his makeup
It's
is
really
gnarly,
cool.
so gnarly.
The makeup effects in these movies, and then Phantom of the Opera is almost 100 too.
Yeah,
I don't know what it says, but they haven't really improved that much since like the 20s because that thing still holds up.
mm-hmm.
And if they did him, I know they did a movie with James Cagney called Man of a Thousand Faces, and the makeup in that was terrible. His face was kind of wrong for it, but like the makeup now in movies and stuff is so glossy, it kind of looks like everybody's wearing like a Halloween mask. And those makeups back then, they had to like put all of that on, like individually at a time, like Frankenstein and stuff. All those makeups were. I mean, they also almost killed you, but I mean, the way they look is like it doesn't age at all.
Yeah, Jack Pierce is the one responsible for all the Universal monsters and why they look so iconic.
He was he was crazy, which I mean, he had to be, but he was definitely like, I mean, he did all those scarrings on the Bride of Frankenstein's neck you don't even see
Mm-hmm.
in the movie, all the stitches and stuff. You never even see that in the movie.
They put like
Or when he,
chicken wire in her hair to make the hair stick up like that, or some sort of wire.
yeah, and the Mummy. We'll get to that because there's a weird thing about the mummies and the bandages. You don't even see them walk around, but we'll get to that.
I
So
love
yeah,
the
no,
Mummy.
Phantom. Yeah, that's my favorite one. That's probably my favorite one of the monster. I like the Mummy the best, but I like him better when he's not wrapped. Like when he's his other cat, Ardith Bay.
Yeah, yeah. When he's
I just think that's
human,
cool because you
technically.
only see the merchandise of him for the most part when he's just a mummy. But that he doesn't do anything. He just grabs the scroll
Yeah.
and lays there. You see him the rest of the movie as the other disguise.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. All right. So Phantom of the Opera. I like the Lon Chaney parts, but I don't. That movie had a weird production and stuff, and you just watch it for him. All right. So let's talk about one more silent, and then we're gonna go into the big ones. So the last one. Did you see any of the reconstruction stills or anything for London After Midnight?
No, I haven't.
You've seen what he looks like, right?
In what movie?
London After Midnight. You know the one with the Lon Chaney with the shark teeth.
Oh yes, with like the top hat.
Yeah. Because if
Okay.
you didn't know what that looked, you have to look it up like right now.
I've seen that still. Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because that movie was remade as Mark of the Vampire with Lugosi.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah, it was remade in the 30s, and what's weird is they had started the supernatural stuff already, but when they did the remake with Lugosi, they went back to the idea that it's not supernatural; it's all a fake. So
Okay.
at the end, spoilers: Lugosi's not a real vampire in that movie; he's an actor, which is what it was in London After Midnight. Lon Chaney was playing a police detective that was dressed up as a vampire, trying to scare these criminals into revealing their plot or whatever. So
Nice.
he's not really a which kind of sucks because the makeup's really cool. Not really a vampire. He's just a guy. But they have like like action figures and stuff of him. And you can't even watch the movie. Like
That's
the
wild.
neck is coming out with another toy of him in their monster line. I think he's called like the Man in the Beaver Hat or something. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, I heard that the movie wasn't. There were some people that like in the '70s said that they saw it back in the '20s before it got destroyed, and it wasn't very good. If it was like Mark of the Vampire, which it was a remake, or that was a remake, yeah, it probably was okay, but it would be really cool to see his performance in it. That was pretty much the takeaway that Lon Chaney was the best part. Again, everybody else kind of just stood around.
And Lon
He wasn't in the
Chaney,
movie that much. Yeah.
he was supposed to play Dracula, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately he passed
Yeah,
away
he
before
died.
he
Yeah.
was able
Mhm.
to do that.
Yeah, he died right before. He only did like one sound movie, I think. There's Universal did a bunch of documentaries in the '90s when they released all the movies on VHS,
Yeah.
and I think they still come with all the DVDs and the Blu-rays and stuff.
Yeah, they do. I have
Right,
them on Blu-ray.
they're also on YouTube, and I think I've watched them like 1,000 times. They're like 40 minutes each,
Yeah.
and they're just like stuff you stick together for a DVD release, but they're really good because they tell you everything. I mean, they're great. And there's also a big one too. I could send you a link for that if you don't have it, where they cover. I don't know where this one was released. I don't know if it's on the Blu-rays or not, but it covers like every horror movie, like we're talking about now, like pretty much all of them.
I've definitely seen that one. I know what you're talking about.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
Yes.
with I think Kenneth Branagh does the voice, right? The
Yes,
narration.
yes, 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 yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. It's on
That has
YouTube.
everybody. That has James Cameron from Return of the Living Dead is in it.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing some stuff. Gloria Stewart from Old Dark House, Invisible Man is in it. So they interview a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and it was
Super
really
cool.
good.
Super cool.
All right, so we have to jump to 1931. So, I mean, you probably know all. I mean, do you want me just? You know what I'm talking about, Dracula. But do you want me to give the history of it, or you want to do that?
Oh, you go ahead. You seem to have a
Okay.
lot of knowledge on these.
Like I was obsessed with this stuff. Like I don't know. I mean, I still am, but I learned all of it. It just sticks.
Mm-hmm.
So Dracula. Well, it's weird because what do you think of? Do you think that because a lot of people complain that Dracula is not that great of a movie, and then it's like a mixed movie, but it's a weird movie because, well, first of all, Lugosi's performance as Dracula, I think the whole film is kind of mixed, but I think the performance is probably the reason why the film was so successful.
Oh yeah,
Like the film is
he's the
cool
best part.
itself, but I think, which is weird because he got the freaking shaft. I mean, he had like his career was just awful. I mean, I think he did a lot of good stuff, but I mean, they didn't respect him at all. Um, I do think his performance in Dracula is pretty much responsible for why horror movies exist, like the genre. Like I think he's responsible for it more so than even just the movie.
Well, his performance is so legendary that whenever people speak vampire or Dracula, they always do the
Hmm.
Lugosi accent.
Yeah, but it's just weird to think that he basically because once Dracula came out in 1931, and then Frankenstein, because they both came out the same year, which is incredible to think about the fact that they made these movies like
Yeah.
8 months apart, like 10 months apart, whatever it is. Because Dracula came out for Valentine's Day, which they advertised it as a Valentine's Day movie, which is weird as hell. I mean, the marketing was like the strangest love story ever told, or whatever. Even though that's not really. I don't know why they did that because Dracula doesn't really like fall in love with anybody in the movie.
No.
So they were market because the women thought Lugosi on the stage was really attractive.
Yeah.
And they were marketing it as he was this like Valentino lover guy, as opposed to like the Max Shrek one, which is just like a horrifying monster. And they kind of ended up with the Dracula character, which I don't think has ever happened to any other fictional character this way, where they kind of split the same character in half. Like there's the Lugosi Dracula, which everybody imitated, and then there's the Max Shrek Dracula, which is a totally different thing, and then also has had a bunch of movies based off that. So they kind of took the Dracula character and it's split in two ways.
Yeah.
Which is weird to think about because it's the same character. Because Max Shrek's Nosferatu is Dracula, even though he's not. It's totally different when you think about Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about Nosferatu being Dracula, but they're the same character.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of split, but to think that they made those two, like they started a whole like film, like genre after that, it's crazy.
Well, my thing with Dracula, I love Dracula. I think it's a great film. Yes, it is slow, and the scenes without Lugosi and shout out to Dwight
But
Fry as Renfield.
Dwight Fry, yeah, those
He's
are the best
also
two
excellent.
performances.
The scenes without them are very boring, and they're kind of hard to get through. And the director, Todd Browning, no offense to him, he really didn't do much behind the camera. He just kind of put the camera in one spot and said, okay, act. And there's not much movement. There's not much flow, but it really succeeds in the eerie creepiness, because I love the scene where Lugosi is first shown in that dungeon and he just stands there and the camera slowly pans in and there's that creature sound in the background. It's so quiet. It's so creepy. It really works.
Yeah, the no music thing is better than if they had put music in. I know people say wish they had music. No, it's way creepier that there's no music.
Now, here's the thing. I love music in film. Philip Glass did a score for Dracula in 99.
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
I prefer that version just because I love that score in general. I think it's one of the best scores I've ever heard. And it really does add a lot to the film. But yes, without it, I still think it works.
Well, yeah, it's like the freaking Blair Witch Project or something. Like when he's just standing there.
Yeah, super
and there's
creepy.
No sound. Like there's no music. And it's just like he's just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really scary. Like that's really weird. And then for some reason, there's like a bee. You know about the bee in the movie that comes out? Like, I get what they were trying to do, even though it's hilarious, and I do like it. But they're trying in the movie. They kind of set up the fact that there's like a chain of like a blood chain or something going on. Like Renfield will eat the spiders or whatever. They'll eat the flies and stuff. But how did a bee become a vampire? Did Dracula bite a bee?
Well. But
did another animal bite a bee, like a fly bite a bee, and then the bee became like the bee died and then came back? But did Dracula build the bee a tiny coffin?
I think
he's coming out of a little tiny bee coffin.
I know it is stupid, but I also think it's a little creepy because it just
it's creepy. It's just that did Dracula like whittle like a tiny little baby coffin for one bee?
I don't know. It is.
That's what it is.
Weird.
He's coming out of his own coffin, a bee.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody made him a coffin. It's really weird. I don't know what that was supposed to be. That was so random. But you could get
the armadillo
figure a bee. Yeah,
the armadillo's random too.
They didn't use rats. That's because what's his face didn't want rats on the set. They used armadillos.
I think my favorite scene in that film is when Renfield first shows up and Dracula comes down the stairs, and there's that one shot of that big ass spider crawling up the wall behind the spider web. That is so goddamn creepy. I don't know. It's obviously a prop, but it looks so real.
Yeah, and then when he walks through the spider web.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool too, because they don't emphasize it too much. Like he just notices it, but you're kind of like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
You can teleport through that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a mixed. Other characters are really kind of awful. I mean, they're not. Like, they're really. I mean, I guess not Renfield. Van Helsing is okay. You know, what's his face? He's
Van Sloan. Van Sloan.
Yeah, he's okay. He's in The Mummy too, and he's in Frankenstein. He plays the same character like every single time.
Yeah, he's probably the worst in
the second Dracula. He's also the second Dracula movie too. I think he comes back. I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, Dracula's Daughter, which it's so bland. It is
with a prop Lugosi because they could even get Do you know that movie?
No, they didn't ask him to come back.
I know they used a prop of him in like a dummy.
It's like
a wax figure or something. Did you know that well, since we're talking about Dracula, we'll just because we'll go on to Frankenstein in a second. You know that there was supposed to be a James Whale directed sequel to Dracula.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this. You're gonna be really upset this movie never got made. The reason it didn't get made is because they didn't have the money for it, and also the Lemleys lost the studio, I think, or maybe something else happened. But anyway, do you want me to tell you this because you're going to be really pissed this didn't happen?
That's fine. Go ahead.
All right, so it was supposed to be a prequel movie starring Lugosi, and it was supposed to take place in like the 1400s. And Lugosi would have been a count or whatever in some castle that would have got turned into a vampire by somebody, I forget. I think a demon or something would have turned him into a vampire. This would have been really sick if this movie had been made. This would have been awesome. But anyway, he gets turned into a demon vampire and like sent to hell. And I think like the demon in hell was played by Boris Karloff.
Oh man, that'd have been cool.
I mean, that would have probably been maybe the best one if they would have made that. I mean, that could have been like the best because it was James Whale. He was the best director of all these.
He was by far the best director of that era.
That probably would have been the best Universal monster movie if they would have made it.
Wow.
Because I could just kind of picture it in my head what it would have been like, and yeah, it would have been incredible. But they didn't make it. They were also supposed to make a Wolfman versus Dracula movie.
I think I know about that one. Yeah.
in Technicolor, and also it wasn't even. It was going to be Larry Talbot, not in his Wolfman form, versus Dracula as a giant bat on a string.
Yeah, they got really campy towards
Oh
the end.
yeah, but the Dracula prequel movie, I mean,
James, oh
that would have
man,
been better filmed than the regular Dracula movie. So
Sin,
that would
Sin,
have been incredible.
man, that's like a wishful thinking kind of thing. Like I wish that was
Yeah,
made. Damn,
yeah,
I
that
love
was cool.
James
All right, so
Whale.
let's go on to Frankenstein, which is your favorite one, right? Or
I
one of your
love
favorite ones.
Frankenstein. It
This movie
is.
has the best. The Frankenstein monster makeup in this one, or the monster makeup. I mean, you call him Frank, whatever. But the monster makeup in this one, I think, is the best monster makeup in any movie
I agree. One hundred
ever made.
percent. One
I
hundred
think this is
percent.
probably because when he comes out of that door, what's backwards for when he moonwalks into the room, like he's like walking
It's
backwards.
weird, but I like when he turns around and it cuts real quick to
Oh,
his
the
face and
jump
it
cuts. He's
cuts
thinking
again.
on the
Yeah,
bride too. Yeah,
yeah.
his monster makeup, and I know that Boris Karloff apparently was not very well fed or whatever, and he also took the his teeth out, the bridge in his mouth. I think he took it out, but he looks like a corpse.
He does,
I mean,
especially with his
he looks
eyes.
like he looks like somebody stitched it. Like he looks like he's not a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Now in the sequels, I don't think so. I think it still looks cool, but I think that he also like he obviously gained weight and stuff. And but in that first movie, he looks like he's dead.
Yeah.
Like brought back to life. Like, it's actually really scary how the hell he looks like when he's following that girl around in her room or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I mean, he looks like he's not even a real person.
Yeah, Karloff's performance is really, truly amazing because, like you said, he looks like a corpse, but he acts like this corpse that was brought back to life. He really does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the makeup is it's incredible, and it doesn't even really make any sense because I don't think if you cut somebody's head open to take out their brain, it would be square.
Yeah, I don't understand the square head thing, but I think it
No, I
looks
don't think
cool.
that would work because brain is not like I don't know, but it doesn't make any. It doesn't matter. It's really cool.
Yeah, James
It's
Whale
pretty
took credit
awesome.
on the design of the monster, but Jack Pierce also took credit of the makeup of the monster. So it's kind of like, well, who? Maybe it was a
Yeah, I
collaboration
don't
kind
know.
of thing.
Yeah, maybe because James Whale had there was a picture of a character that he played on the stage. I think it's in one of those documentaries. It was like this very tall looking lanky guy that kind of looked like Caesar and Caligari.
Mm-hmm.
Because Frankenstein is all. I mean, there was the Golem that
Yeah,
was like the Jewish Frankenstein, and there's also obviously Caligari, Caesar and Caligari kind of walks like Frankenstein does as well.
the Golem makeup is strange. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, and also two of those movies are gone. I think only the last Golem movie is the only one that's left. There was three of them, and there was only one that survived. Okay, so we got. Oh, also Dwight
Wait,
Fry is in this one too.
I have to shout out though the best performance in Frankenstein is not Karloff in my opinion. It is Colin Clive.
Oh yeah, that's your fit. You got to talk about because he's in the other ones. The other one too.
Yeah, Colin Clive is one of my favorite actors. I think his performance in Frankenstein is one of my favorites and one of the best ever. The way he just seems so believable. Like everything he says, I believe every word that comes out of his mouth because he's just so real. He's so like he acts crazy, but he acts like what he's thinking is correct. Like his mindset is on point, even though he's clearly out of his mind. Like I love the way the one scene where his fiance, the friend, and Sloane show up, and they're like, "Dude, you're crazy. You're crazy as fuck." And he's like, "Oh, one man crazy, three very sane people." Like the way he says that is so awesome. I just love that performance. Every scene,
I like
he's a
that.
scene
What's that
stealer.
one line that he pauses or whatever in between the line? That was pretty cool too.
Where he
The
pauses.
line that he pauses. He pauses in the middle of it. Oh crap! It's in the freaking. It's in some of the one of the advertisements I saw it too. What was it? He pauses. I forget. You'll know when you watch it. He says a line and then he pauses in the middle of the line and then finishes it. I thought it was pretty cool too. I forget what line it is when he pauses. I don't remember, but I remember that part. So that was good.
You
And of
got me
course, the
stumped.
live part they had to censor it for a while and put it back in because he said that he was God or whatever.
Which is
They
funny
canceled that.
because they censor that, but the whole movie is sacrilegious. Because like it's
Oh, and
bringing a
also
body back
Bride
to
of
life.
Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein is also even more sacrilegious, which is so good. But yeah, no. Dr. Pretorius is the evil atheist in that movie.
I love Pretorius.
So we'll talk about him because I think he's the best part of Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Because I mean, can you imagine like they have the boring ass guy, what's his face, Van Sloan, and then they replace him with Ernest Thesiger,
Mm-hmm.
who is like the gayest, most campiest thing you've ever seen in your life. He used to sit around the set knitting between takes, and he used to call himself the knitting bitch.
That's amazing.
This is a real thing that happened. He was the knitting bitch. So he was like I mean, which it's also that kind of annoys me too, because he's like, oh, he's so evil because he doesn't believe in religion, but whatever. Oh, he's so bad. He's like an evil atheist. I don't know. But you love the guy. I mean, he's funny as hell, but he's also like completely evil. But anyway, we can't get to that yet. That's later because we've got a couple more years to do. So, all right, are you ready for?
I would say Frankenstein's my favorite of the whole. It's actually my second favorite horror film ever. So there's that.
What's your first one?
My favorite horror film is Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, 1982.
Oh, that's like That's like. I watched that again. That's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, isn't it?
Yeah, the director Tommy Lee Wallace loves the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, so a lot of inspiration came from
it does feel like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I think.
Which is a good movie too. I like that one.
That's one of my favorites too, the original one, not the 70s one, but I have to watch that 70s one again.
I like the 70s one, but the 50s one is good.
The Fly, the Blob, the Thing, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, I go for the original one. I don't care.
Wait, I just have one question. John Carpenter's The Thing. What do you think of that one? What do you think of that one?
Oh, we can't. Well, if anybody watches this, they're going to be really pissed off. I don't.
Hey, you're entitled to your opinion.
No, I know. I just don't. I don't know. It's kind of just a like a special effects show.
Okay, that's fair.
People like it because it has it's the build up to it. But I don't know. It's just a bunch of gore. I don't know.
That's fair.
Like The Fly is like a bunch of gore too.
Except I don't like The Fly.
The Jeff Goldblum character, I mean, it is a sympathetic thing because like it's horrifying. It's like an AIDS metaphor, which is like horrifying. When those little hairs grow out of his back, I mean, that's like his fingernails are. It's gross.
The original thing. I mean, sorry, the original Fly.
Fly, I love that. That one's great.
The original Fly has one of the creepiest endings I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, people laugh at it though. I mean, I thought it was horrifying, but it's also kind of fun because Vincent Price and Marshall, they couldn't stop laughing when they made that.
I mean,
I thought it was hilarious, and it is kind of hilarious, but it's scary as hell.
I think it's scary because of the situation. Like this poor guy, he's
a head. He's a little
He's he's fucked basically.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's so gross and weird.
I like the original Fly better than the.
Yeah, and I also like I like all. I mean, the Blob. The 50s Blob is okay.
It's okay.
The remake is definitely just a gore fest too.
Oh, the remake's awesome. I love the remake.
I mean, if that's all it is just watching people get digested, basically.
But like the thing with effects movies, and I know we're kind of get off track here, but the effects movies, I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. That's not what I'm saying here. But like I love them because the effects are so good. That it's when I watch both of them, like that's fucking unbelievable how they were able to pull that off. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just being like a hypocrite because I like Return of the Living Dead, and what the hell is that? There's like a bunch of nihilistic people just running around getting like eaten by zombies and murdered. But I don't know. It just depends. Yeah. I just don't like the remake. I mean, the original versions they just get like shit on. People have like no idea what they're talking about, and it's just annoying. Because the original Fly is not a schlock film. It's not.
It's very tragic.
And if you think the second one was The Fly 2, which is actually in black and white. I always think the first Fly is in black and white, but it's not. It's in color. It's a really good movie. Actually, do you know in the original Fly, the one who plays the nurse, do you remember there's like a nurse in the bedroom with the woman?
Yes.
The girl who like her. Yeah, you know who that woman is?
Who?
That was the one who voiced Cruella.
No shit.
Cruella DeVille, yeah.
Didn't know that.
She's only in it for like a minute, but it's Betty Lou Gerson, yeah. All right, so we got a lot more to go through. So let's do one more from 31. Now, set this up. Dracula and Frankenstein come out, and I don't know how they pulled this shit. Well, I do because they used to shoot movies back then in like 2 weeks. But every studio now wants a horror movie since Frankenstein came out. Because Frankenstein was even a bigger hit than Dracula.
Yeah.
So now every studio in Hollywood, that's what was it, like MGM and Paramount and what was the other one? RKO. Yes. I think RKO started later, though. I don't know, whatever. So they all want horror movies. So Frankenstein comes out in November of 31. They were somehow able to film, edit, and release Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on December 31st, 1931.
No shit.
They just made it the last day. And honestly, you've seen the one with Frederick March, right? The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
I have not.
Okay, if there's anyone who watches these old horror movies and says they're a little bit too tame, the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Frederick March is sick.
Okay.
It's sick. I mean, it makes Frankenstein and because Frankenstein's a sympathetic character, but it makes Dracula look like a wimp. I mean, his performance it's kind of hard to watch. I mean, he's so like pervy and rapey and gross. Like it's really rough. What he does to that woman or whatever in that movie is like, oh my god. I mean, it's a pre-code movie, but the subject matter of it is just because it's fantasy, but it's more like sexualized and stuff, and it's very creepy. He's like a monkey man that like jumps around and beats people with his cane. It's really good. You should watch that one if you're gonna watch one next.
Okay.
And the transformation sequence was very influential because it was with the spinning room and stuff, and he's transforming.
Yeah.
And he drinks the potion, and then later on they would do that with American Werewolf in London. So that was alright. So you gotta watch that one. That one's really good.
I'll check that one out.
All right, let me look at the list. So before we get to the Universal ones from 1932, I'm going to start naming a bunch of these off, and you tell me if you've seen them. We'll try to go through it pretty quickly because by the time 1932 rolled around, I mean, they were just like... It was weird because the reaction to the horror genre... Now, of course, it's a whole genre, but when you think about it, like, every studio wanted to make these movies, but they didn't do what they do nowadays with, like, the superhero movies and stuff. They didn't destroy the rest of all of Hollywood. Like they were one thing. They came out, they were one new genre, but they started pumping them out like crazy. But people went to go see everything. They didn't just see horror movies, and then there was no other movies made. So it was kind of similar to what we have now, except, not terrible.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Like
they were pumping these like crazy, spamming them, but not taking over the whole market.
Yeah, right.
Which is fine. I mean, it's fine. Also, I mean, these are actual art, but whatever. This is not. It's not a product. Okay, so I'll read you some names of these. You tell me which ones you've seen. And we'll go through them quick because I don't want to get to the Universal Monster ones again. Did you see Murders in the Rue Morgue?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one where Dr. Miracle wants to take a woman and transfuse her blood of an ape, Eric the ape, into the woman so that he could prove Darwin's evolutionary theory, even though that's not how that works, but whatever. And there's like a monkey in that movie called Eric, but like half the time he's like a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? Like he keeps jump cutting from him in his suit.
That reminds me of the Three Stooges. Because the Three Stooges had a lot of apes and...
It's a little schlock, but Lugosi is creepy as hell in that movie.
He is.
He just like drops their dead bodies into the water and stuff and all that.
I have that
and
one
also
on
the movie is basically it's bestiality. I mean the ape comes in the girl's bedroom and like comes over her bed and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean it's hinting at stuff that they couldn't say, obviously. So Murders in the Rue Morgue, I really like that one. I like practically all the Lugosi movies that are good. I like them all.
Mm-hmm.
He made a lot of good movies. White Zombie. Did you see White Zombie?
Nope. I want to see that one though.
That one's weird because that one definitely has the slower pace of like Dracula to it. But I definitely think that it doesn't have a bunch of scenes of like boring people. It's really just Lugosi just like stands around and like looks at the camera. It's a weird one because he doesn't even have to do anything, Lugosi, and he's scary. He just like stands there and like he has this army of Haitian like voodoo zombies. You know his name in that movie is Murder Legendre. They only say his name once, and it's not even in the movie. It's in like a trailer.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, his name is Murder Legendre. All right, so White Zombie's good. You should watch that. Gotta try to go through these quick. What about Mad Love? You seen Mad Love?
Oh, is that with
Wait a minute, that's the one that you said you rewatched, right? With Peter Lorre?
Yes, and Colin Clive. Yes, I used to not like that one for some reason. Then I rewatched it, and I'm like, you know what? This is fucking
as hell.
Excellent. It's super weird.
It's got that one scene in it that's one of the creepiest things you'll ever see in your life with the head, with the head or whatever.
Yeah, it's just a strange idea, but I like it.
Yeah, that movie also has what's his face in it, who I love. There's a character actor named Eric Brophy, who is the guy that gets his head chopped off. You know, the guy who throws.
Yeah.
He was a little mouse in Dumbo. You know, Timothy the Mouse.
Oh, okay.
And he was in The Thin Man and stuff like that. But yeah, that scene where he's like the headless like guy with the head attached.
Mm-hmm.
That is weird.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like
Also,
that one.
Peter Lorre is Peter Lorre is incredible.
He's good in everything.
Yeah, he's. I mean, in the advertisement for that movie, it's like Charlie Chaplin says Peter Lorre is the greatest actor of all time. They use that in the advertisements for it. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, Peter Lorre was really awesome, and of course, he's parodied like crazy. I mean, the Peter Lorre persona thing is in like every cartoon ever. All right, let me go to the next one. Did you see the Mask of Fu Manchu?
Nope, I have not.
That's the one with Boris Karloff in the what do we call it? Yellow face.
Oh gosh.
I think he looks whatever. I think he's cool. I mean, it doesn't work anymore, but I mean, have you seen pictures of it?
I probably have.
You
It
know,
sounds
like the
familiar.
guy in Big Trouble in Little China, the
Yeah,
evil guy in that, except that's actually played by an Asian person.
yeah,
Kind of looks like that, except it's a British guy. So,
gotcha.
but I like it. I mean, I think his performance is. It's really sadomasochistic, that movie, a lot, which is probably makes it even more racist. But whatever. All right, Island of Lost Souls. Did you see that?
No, I have not. A lot of
Okay,
these I
that's the
probably
one.
haven't seen if they're not Universal. Just letting you know.
Okay. So, well, yeah, I want to mention them all because they're really good, and then you can put them on a list.
Okay.
So Island of Lost Souls is the one with Charles Lawton plays a doctor, Dr. Moreau, who takes animals and transforms them into human being hybrids.
Okay.
And when the movie came out, it was like going to be banned somewhere. And Elsa Lanchester, who was his wife, the Bride of Frankenstein, they said to her, "Oh, well, this movie's immoral or whatever, or unnatural." And she said, "Well, yeah, Mickey Mouse is unnatural." So the movie is really creepy. It's like a panther woman in it, and it has the House of Pain, and Lugosi is like the Animal Man, the leader of the tribe, and he at the end they they're gonna torture Charles Lawn in the House of Pain. It's really messed up.
Okay.
It's a good movie, and Jack Pierce did the makeup for that too.
The goat.
But that's not Universal. I think it's Paramount.
Okay.
So all right, how about Doctor X? Do you see Doctor X?
I have not.
All right, just forget that. It's not good. I'm going to talk about it later because we're going to talk about something else. How about The Most Dangerous Game?
See, these all sound familiar, but I haven't seen them.
Okay, that's one where they shot on the same sets as King Kong. So you'll see all the locations from King Kong. They shot on the same set. It's the one where the guy hunts the people instead of hunting the animals.
Gotcha.
It's okay. It's not that good, but whatever. All right, one more before we get to the next Universal Monster ones.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie called Freaks?
Freaks? No.
Okay. This one. Put Freaks and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde at the top, and Island of Lost Souls.
Okay.
Those three, I think, are the ones you should see next because Freaks is incredible. Freaks is a movie where, for some reason, there's a sideshow attraction, which we know this word, you can't use this word anymore, Freaks, but what? Do you see the American Horror Story thing? They did an homage to it.
I saw like the first couple seasons of that show.
Yeah,
But...
yeah, the homage about the circus performance, they use the same designs for the characters that are in Freaks.
Okay.
So it's a movie where these freaks, or these circus performers, have their own little community, and the strongman and the trapeze artist lady are like evil, and they infiltrate this like little person group, like this guy. Now, for some reason in this movie, a little person in a sideshow, he's like rich. I don't understand how he's in a sideshow if he's rich, but whatever. He has money, so she tries to steal his money and marry him, even though she doesn't love him. So the freaks or the circus performers get mad and they do stuff to them that I'm not going to spoil if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
They break the code. You know, the Uba Gaba. Have you heard about this where they're sitting at the table? That chant that they do and stuff? Or you don't know what I'm talking. Forget it.
It doesn't.
You gotta watch Freaks.
Okay.
I just don't understand how a little person in the sideshow is rich, but whatever. It makes no sense, but it's funny. And it's really scary. I mean, they have the guy with the no arms and legs coming at them with a knife in his mouth. I'm not sure what he's supposed to do, but it's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's raining, and I'm not going to spoil what they do at the end. But I think Lon Chaney, that was a costume that he was going to use in one of his movies before he died, and they ended up using it in Freaks because Todd Browning directed it. It's his best movie.
Gotcha. Okay.
Actually directed this time. He didn't just, which was weird because Carl Freund did the cinematography for Dracula. He directed the Mad Love. He directed the Mummy.
Yeah, his directing style is way better.
Yeah, and he didn't do anything either with Dracula. He also did the Metropolis, and he also was the cameraman on I Love Lucy.
No shit.
Or a sitcom. So, yep. All right, let's get to Universal again. We're going through these. All right, so 1932 had two Universal monster movies: The Old Dark House and The Mummy. Want to
Okay.
say anything about The Old Dark House?
The Old Dark House is probably, I don't know if it's the first of this kind of movie, but I would say it's one of the originals where it's the cliche of a group of people end up at a creepy environment and have to stay there overnight for some circumstantial reason, and weird shit happens.
Yeah, it was James Whale's homage to the silent versions of that, like The Cat and the
Well,
Canary that was remade in The Cat Creeps, and I think another movie called The Last Warning or something got like a Blu-ray release recently.
well,
Where people get trapped in a place and they're like picked off and stuff, and weird things happen. Yeah,
I
I was a
think
big fan of those movies.
I think the Old Dark House is excellent. I think it's hilarious. I
Yeah,
think it's creepy. The
that's
atmosphere
a
is
great
on
movie.
point. And Karloff is my only disappointment. He doesn't do much because he plays a
He's like playing
mute.
like he's playing like a cheap version of like the Frankenstein. Like he's like an off-brand
Yeah,
version.
I don't like his character. He's just, I mean, okay, I
It's
should say that.
okay. I mean,
He's
it's fine
fine.
for what it is. You just want him to be more than just what it was. Because the real scary one is that guy at the end, Saul.
Yes, yes,
I mean, he's like freaking. That's another one of those like really scary. Like, what the hell is that?
yeah. It just, I was on
It's
the edge
not.
of my seat the whole time,
Yeah,
like, what's gonna
it's scary.
happen?
They also have like a old man. Is it supposed to be a woman or a man that's upstairs? Like I think it's played by a man, but it's supposed to be like an elderly woman. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's some. I think it's supposed to be a man.
Okay, but it's played by a woman. I don't know what. Like it's just like a weird like witch design. It's like an old like I don't know. It looks like an old creepy woman like
Yeah,
cackling and stuff upstairs. Yeah, it's real weird. Yeah, it's cool. That's a good movie. Yeah. All right. So what about the Mummy? Let's do the Mummy because that's the big one from 1932. That's the one that gets
I love the
it's talk.
Mummy.
Do you know the Old Dark House had to be saved, right? By a guy named Curtis something. You know about this?
What do you
Because
mean saved?
the movie was lost.
Oh, okay.
Universal wouldn't because what happened was because William Castle remade it. You know William Castle who directed
Mm-hmm.
Elf on Haunted Hill and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Which I like that
smells the
one.
Tingler. The Tingler is hilarious. Tingler is great, but he wanted to say because he was friends with James Whale and he wanted people to see the Old Dark House. But what happened was back in the day with studios is when they remade a movie, they took away the original version. Sometimes trying to basically destroy it, like it never existed, because they didn't know back then that people were going to have home video and stuff. So when a remake of a movie would come out, they would basically just throw the original version out, gone. It never was made. It didn't exist. Which is what happened to a lot of Irene Dunn's movies. They all got remade and nobody saw the originals. But The Old Dark House was basically lost. And he found it after all these years in some vault or something and had it restored. And then I think he passed away right after it was done. Um, and yeah, so I wanted to tell you that because you didn't know that.
No shit, I didn't know that.
All right, let's do The Mummy. The Mummy's the best one. Even though, I mean, watching The Mummy again, I feel like the original Scooby-Doo show just like ripped off The Mummy like in every episode. Mummy definitely has a Scooby-Doo-ish vibe to it, where they go to like some museum
Yeah.
and it's like some creepy guy going around, like people are disappearing and stuff. But yeah, this is the I think one of the better ones because I think Karloff in this movie is incredible.
Well, again, like the other, like Frankenstein and Dracula, the atmosphere is perfect. The gothic, oozy, eerie creepiness is just awesome.
And the
I
story is better. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Dracula story to begin with, but it's definitely better than the Dracula
Oh
because
yeah,
they borrow from Dracula.
heavily. Even the song in
Yeah.
the beginning, the
Oh,
swan,
Swan Lake. Yeah,
Swan Lake.
Swan
Yeah,
Lake. They
I
use that in The Mummy and Dracula and in another movie called Secret of the Blue Room. Okay, keep going.
you mentioned the beginning earlier about the Mummy. I think the introduction of the Mummy is probably the best part of the whole film because you're
Oh
right.
yeah, that's like the best opening in any horror movie like ever.
We don't see him move at all. I mean, oh, I'm sorry. We don't see him walk. We see his arm move,
Yeah.
and that's it. And the reaction from
His
that one,
eyes open up. Yeah, his eyes open up and it pans down to his hand moving.
yeah, and the reaction from the one young character, his hysterical laughter of fear is so creepy.
Yeah.
Is so creepy. I love the shot of the bandages being pulled away through the doorway. That is so creepy because I imagine what this mummy is do. My imagination takes over.
Have you seen the I think they even use it on Letterboxd for the banner picture.
Yeah.
They did film him walking around in the mummy
Yeah,
bandages.
the
and
letterbox
reaching
banner
over.
is that, which is fucking weird, but
Yeah, because not even in the movie.
yeah, no, it's not. But my imagination takes over.
The restraint that they had in these movies to put Karloff in all those bandages for that long, and then film it, and then decide that it wasn't necessary to use is insane. Because if well, I didn't see the Brendan Fraser movies or whatever, but like, or the Tom Cruise one, for God's sake, but like, it's total shit.
Yeah.
But if they had him in his bandages, he'd be like screaming, and like things would be flying around the room, exploding, and everybody would be like, "Whoa!" And it's none of that. He doesn't do anything. He just moves his hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
The respect that they had for their audiences, even in this stuff, which back then this was, I mean, I think it's great, but horror movies weren't really the most respected thing in the world back then. But the amount of respect they had for their audiences back then, it's incredible.
Well, it takes a lot of guts to film all that, and then to just say, you know what, we're gonna not show him walk around. We're gonna show his arm move twice in the bandages, and that's it.
Yeah,
takes a lot
it wasn't
of guts.
stupid.
Takes a lot of guts to do that.
Because they didn't think about this stuff being crap.
Yeah.
The people who made these movies did not make these movies to be, garbage. I mean, it's not garbage. It's not like, God's Worth or something, a humanist drama, but it's still, they treat it like it's important stuff. I mean, it's not crap.
Yeah.
And the scenes when he's like being buried alive or whatever.
Oh my God, yeah.
Alive,
the flashbacks.
People get impaled.
Yeah. Absolutely wild.
Yeah. Yeah, they had more of that too, where they were going to have the girl in it go through different like transformations. She was going to be like Joan of Arc. She was going to get reincarnated a bunch of times, and I think they filmed some of that, but they decided to not use that either. That would have been cool, seeing her through the different ages, getting reincarnated a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd been crazy.
The Mummy is one of the better ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it's probably, as a whole movie, it's probably better than Frankenstein and Dracula. It's definitely better than Dracula, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's on the same level, because poor Dracula, it's like the worst one. I don't know. It feels like they were kind of refining it like 3 times over.
It's my third favorite of the Universal Monster movies.
But yeah, poor Dracula. Dracula's like a trial run, but whatever. They had to create it at first. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So that's 1932. Now I'll go into 1933, and then everything else is a bit of, not as much. So there's 3 ones I want to talk about in 33. There's The Invisible Man, King Kong, which is not 100% a horror movie, but it kind of is. I mean, he's kind of a movie monster or whatever. And Mystery of the Wax Museum. So, have you seen Invisible Man and King Kong, right?
So, don't hate me. I have never seen King Kong, but I plan on watching that one soon. That's been on my watch list for a long time. All
right, so we'll talk. So the only one you've seen that is The Invisible Man. All right, so let's do Wax Museum. All right, so King Kong. I mean, it's a giant monster movie. I'm not the biggest fan of those. He steps on people, he eats them, which is really actually kind of scary. He picks up a whole train of people and just throws it down. Just grabs some random woman by mistake out of her bedroom window and just kills her. So there's a lot of like horrific stuff in that movie that's really creepy. People screaming and stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of screaming in that. But it's okay. I mean, he fights stuff. It's a T-Rex. Yeah. And he goes on top of the Empire State Building, which that part's awesome. Mm-hmm. Every time I go into Manhattan, because I don't live too far away from there, I can't look at the Empire State Building without thinking about King Kong.
Right.
I mean, that's like iconic. So you like it though, I think. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm not the biggest fan of just like monster fights.
Yeah, I would love I would love to do a double feature of King Kong and the original Godzilla, because I haven't seen that one either. One day.
Yeah, that was okay. I mean, that one has they both have strong political like messages. Like obviously Godzilla is from the nukes, nuclear war and stuff, and King Kong is obviously like Creature from the Black Lagoon. They go into a basically, I mean, he's an ape, but it could be it's somebody else's land and steal him and kidnap him, put him on display. And then when he turns back and starts fighting for it, they kill him. It's messed up. I don't know if that was their intention when they made that movie. Same thing with Creature from the Black Lagoon. But time, makes these things more sympathetic than maybe they were back in the 30s. Anyway, let's talk about Mystery of the Wax Museum. So have you seen any of the House of Wax movies?
I've seen the original 50s version, which is a masterpiece. I love that
So that's the remake.
I didn't know that there was a 30s film.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. There's the 30s one, which is my favorite, and there's the 50s remake, and then there's the 2005 remake.
The 2000 remake is terrible. Absolutely garbage. Yeah. Hot ass garbage.
Even though Betty Davis has a bit, which is pretty funny. They go to that abandoned movie theater, and Baby Jane is on the screen.
True.
So that's pretty cool. I didn't know who the hell Betty Davis was when I first saw that movie, but
Yeah.
I remember that was a thing. Um, okay, so the original Like Dr. X was shot in 2-strip Technicolor, which was the original Technicolor before obviously they did the 3-strip, like Wizard of Oz and stuff, and the red shoes and all that. Um, so they couldn't get all the colors yet. I thought Dr. X was terrible, but Mystery of the Wax Museum gives it this like pastel color,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the weirdest things you'll ever see because a horror movie should not be like pastel. I mean, that's supposed to be for like not horrific things going on. So it's like this weird juxtaposition where it's like people getting dipped in wax and murdered to like this really like kind of like inviting pastel-y color to it. And also when she breaks his face off at the end, the first time I saw that, I was freaked out.
Okay.
But you don't know in the original. I'm going to spoil it for you if you ever watch this. In the Vincent Price version, you know right away that Vincent Price is the killer. He's the man with the burned face.
Yeah, I mean, it's
they
Vincent
don't.
Price.
They kind of messed that. I mean, it's a mystery in the original who he is, and he also looks scarier in the original with his burned face than he does in the remake. But yeah, I was annoyed they did that. Like, why'd they do that? But whatever. But you would like that one too. That's also one you should add to your list. And the colors are amazing.
Okay.
Martin Scorsese was in a video and he was on that in there too. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Did he have a poster of that up at his office? I don't remember. So
Nice.
it's artsy, I guess.
Yeah.
It's really good. I don't have I don't know. People on Twitter, it's like Martin Scorsese's like God. I just think it's pretty funny.
I would say he is one of the best filmmakers ever.
It's okay. I don't know. I mean, I like that he likes old movies. I give him that. And Champions, though. I like that. I just am not the biggest Martin Scorsese movie person. I don't know.
What's your favorite of his films?
Either Taxi Driver or probably King of Comedy.
Okay. What do you like, Goodfellas?
I don't know. Like, Taxi Driver is not, I don't know. Like, I like it, but it's not the kind of movie that I'm really into.
What do you think of Goodfellas?
Yeah, that one's okay.
See, that one...
I don't know.
I know it's off topic, but that one, my dad and I watch that at least once a year together.
Yeah, everybody's favorite. That's my grandfather's, love that. My dad loves it. Yeah. Everybody loves that.
Classic.
Raging Bull is pretty good. Yeah, his movies are very, violent-y, too.
Yeah.
Weird, very, hard, very masculine type of stuff, too, which sometimes it's whoa, don't want to watch this, but they're good. I'm not saying the movies are bad or anything.
I know what
but
you're
I kind
saying.
of feel that way about, Kubrick and Tarantino and all of them. I'm not... It's alright. I watch older movies.
Yeah.
So. King of Comedy, have you seen that?
Oh, yeah, that's a great movie.
That one's really good. And also the whole New York setting, and that's really cool. And then Taxi Driver, too. I mean, Taxi Driver is a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't know. With Tarantino, I don't know. Pulp Fiction, I like it, but I don't know if Pulp Fiction is, one of my favorite movies.
I'm not a big
Jackie
Tarantino fan, honestly.
Yeah. But this is way removed from Universal Monsters. Although, actually, Scorsese did direct the remake of Cape Fear, which was kind of like his horror movie.
Which I need to see.
Alright, so, Invisible Man. What do you think?
So, fun little fact for you. I have a Colin Clive book I've been reading, and so James Whale obviously directed The Invisible Man, and Colin Clive was sort of a pick to play the lead role, but it obviously didn't happen. I don't know why or who.
Karloff, too.
It didn't explain. Which Colin Clive would have been cool because he has a fucking great voice, but Claude Rains was obviously the perfect choice.
Yeah, I'm very glad they didn't go with this because also when we get to Bride of Frankenstein, they wanted Claude Rains to be Dr. Pretorius.
No shit.
Originally, and
that would have been amazing.
I think Claude. Yeah, but you gotta have Ernest.
Oh, I love him. I love.
Yeah,
Dessinger.
I love Claude Rains too, and I think he's probably a better actor than Ernest Dessinger or whatever. Even though I don't know what the hell else. I guess Ernest Dessinger is in Old Dark House as well.
Yes.
No, I mean these roles are perfectly cast. I don't want anybody else to be the Invisible Man. Nobody else to be Dracula. They cast them perfectly.
Yes, I agree.
Even though they had a billion other great actors they could have done. I mean, you don't want to touch in Shadow of a Doubt. You know that Hitchcock movie Shadow of a Doubt?
Yeah.
Originally, the Uncle Charlie character was supposed to be William Powell.
Really?
From The Thin Man. Now, William Powell never played a creeper like that. I think that would have been cool, but it would have changed it completely. And I love Joseph Cotton in that movie.
Well,
but William Powell, his Thin Man persona, being the wacky Nick Charles, and now he's a freaking I mean, that movie's incesty.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been weird as hell. So there's a lot of those like what if type of scenarios. So, but you can't do anything about it.
Well, Universal monster movies, they were perfectly cast in the beginning. Once they hit
Uh,
the
oh yeah, then
40s,
they started.
they really like because Lon Chaney Jr. love him. They cast him in everything, and he
Yeah,
is not good in
yeah. No,
certain
he's just a
things.
wolf man. Yeah. All right. So Invisible Man. I
Love
kind
it.
of, I do, I like it too. But the only thing about this one is, even though I'm being a hypocrite again, this one doesn't really like. This is just like basically like very nihilistic.
I would say it's a dark
Like,
comedy.
yeah, this one doesn't really have. It just starts and then it keeps going, and then he just dies.
Yeah,
And we're supposed to feel bad that he died, even though you don't. I don't really think you care much about. It's a weird one
yeah,
because you don't really care at all about what the hell's going on. He's just basically a lunatic who kills more people in one movie than I think Jason does in all of his movies combined. Because
yeah,
he kills a train full of like 200 people.
yeah.
I think people don't even know this. Like when you say that movie from the 30s has a bigger body count than like all the Friday the 13th movies combined, people are like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, he knocks over a whole train of people, just
Yeah,
destroys it for no reason." So it is super nihilistic. This movie. I mean, it's very. But I don't know. I should just get over that. Whatever.
I
I
do.
mean, I don't know.
I do have one problem with the movie, and that is Una O'Connor.
Oh no!
She's
Everyone hates Lana
horrible.
O'Connor.
She is awful.
I don't know.
She is
She's pretty
so
funny.
annoying. I mean, no offense to her as an actress.
No, she's in a lot of other things too where she doesn't do that. He wanted that James Whale for her to scream like a lunatic.
She ruins The Bride of
She's in a
Frankenstein for
lot of
me.
prestige, like a lot of great films, like Witness for the Prosecution, which was her last movie, Random Harvest, which I love, Christmas in Connecticut, The Adventures of Robin Hood. She's in a lot of movies that are serious, like not her screaming like a lunatic. But yeah, no, she's annoying as hell.
Oh, she's awful. It
I
just
don't
drives me
mind it as
crazy.
much, but it is weird. I mean, she is just
Well,
screaming.
there's this scene where she screams, and her husband, the bartender guy, is like, his
Yeah,
face says it all. I'm like, dude, I feel it, man. How
yeah,
do you
yeah.
deal with
Because
that?
the funniest part though is when he like tells her to get out of the room, and he like throws the thing at her, and the door closes. She just like starts screaming.
She pauses and then screams. I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
god, shut
yeah,
up. She drives me
yeah.
crazy.
She in a movie nowadays would have been probably horrifically killed off, so the audience can go cheering, go nuts.
Yeah.
Because,
I
but
mean,
James Walt wanted that. He liked her, and he wanted her to do that 2 times because she does it again in Bride of Frankenstein.
which I love that one, but her scenes just, I fast forward them. I just can't. She just ruins them.
It's so weird, but yeah, she's annoying. I don't know. It doesn't annoy me as much as other people.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad because
Yeah, it's
she's
it's real
terrible.
weird, especially if you watch her in other movies. Because she's in like so many classic movies, and in these movies they just go nuts. I mean, it's like kabuki stuff. It's like Nicholson in The Shining, which people get mad at. They say, "Oh, Nicholson in The Shining is too over the top." It's like that's what they want. That was the point. I don't know.
Right.
He's doing his thing. I like him. Do you like The Shining or no? Do you think he's too over the
I
top?
love The Shining. I don't think he's that over the top.
Well, because people are mad because in the book he's a good guy that turns bad. In the movie he's a bad guy that turns worse. Which, okay, the hotel chose him because he was already a psychopath.
Well,
I mean,
I
is it that hard to understand?
I see the complaint that Jack Nicholson already is kind of crazy in the first
He is.
place.
He's already a monster, but they know that they've got him, so they turn
But
him into even more of a monster.
the character was already kind of a piece of shit in the first place, so I
Well,
think
not in
it
the book,
fits.
though. Not in the book. The book he was sympathetic, which is what
Well,
people
yeah,
get
in the
mad.
movie, I'm saying he's like,
Yeah, he was already a monster to
yeah,
begin with.
yeah. So I think he
And they
works
use
very
that.
well.
The demons or whatever, the ghosts know it, so that's why they use him.
The Shining's great. I think it's a fucking amazing
Yeah, that
film.
one, and I like Lolita. Nobody likes Lolita, which is probably my favorite, but whatever.
Oh,
Everybody
I'm
hates
sorry.
Lolita.
I listen. I don't hate it.
Hate it. I like her, whatever. I thought she did a good job.
I don't
But
hate
whatever.
it. I was bored. I was so
Yeah, I
bored.
don't know. It's weird. I like Sue, whatever her name is, Sue Lyon in that movie. I think she does a really good job. I didn't like the remake. The remake was too much.
Well, what do you think of, real quick, with Kubrick? What do you think of Barry Lyndon, if you've seen that one?
I didn't see that one. I still have to
Ooh,
watch it.
that one's amazing.
That one's. I know, but that one. All right, I'll have to watch it eventually.
That's my favorite. And 2001,
All right,
of course.
let's go. So Invisible Man, we both like that one. Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, classic. It's a fairy tale. It's a gothic fairy tale, and that's the so how I view it. Colin Clive is the star of Frankenstein, and Karloff is the star of The Bride of Frankenstein. That is his movie, and I think he shines exceptionally well in The Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein is good. I wish he looked. I mean, I don't think he looks as cool as he does in Frankenstein, but we can't do anything about that because they didn't want to starve to death.
There is one shot in that movie that I think is probably the creepiest shot maybe in all of the Universal Monster movies. It's when the guy falls down, unfortunately falls down into the water.
She's like Lance or whatever his name is, that he falls down and then he pulls her in.
Karloff comes out of the corner and like the lights reflecting off the water, and he looks so
and that
fucking
bird
creepy.
is up there or whatever,
yes.
watching them get killed.
He looks so creepy. I'm like, that's so. James Whale is the goat of those movies. Yeah, he really is. Was creepy.
So I do like that he adds the humor into it too.
Yeah, his humor isn't annoying.
No, except for Una O'Connor.
Well, here's the thing with comedy and horror. I have a problem with so. Here's a good example. The new Halloween films that came out, the 2018 Halloween Kills and Halloween.
I only saw the first one.
They put comedy.
2018 one.
Yeah, they put comedy in those films, and they just don't work because it ruins the tension in a lot of scenes, right?
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah, I mean they're not. Yeah, because the director is not. I don't know what. Yeah.
But with James Whale,
it's modern comedy, which is not even. I mean, it's
like
terrible. Humor.
It's terrible.
It's not even funny. They haven't. Yeah.
And James Whale just has like a funny, like dark comedy-esque way he throws things into his films, like the old Dark House. It's kind of goofy, but it just works, you know.
Oh, the potato part? That's my favorite thing ever, when Ernest Schlesinger keeps asking everybody to have a potato.
Yes.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Whale is good with including comedy in his horror films, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think The Bride of Frankenstein probably, like I said, The Mummy has the best opening. I think The Bride probably has the best ending because Elsa Lanchester is only in that movie for like 3 minutes.
Yes.
She's one of the most iconic characters in the whole history of horror movies. She's only in the movie for a couple of minutes. She only has one scene.
Yeah. There is a really...
And she's incredible in that, so that's really difficult to pull.
Oh, she's incredible. Off. She's iconic for 3 minutes, which is awesome. Mm-hmm.
She has like a bajillion toys and this much of costumes, yeah.
There is a scene in The Bride of Frankenstein that no one ever talks about that I have to bring up to you. It is beyond fucked up. So Colin Clive's like, I need a new heart. This one isn't working. So they send Dwight Frye, who's in it. Dwight Frye...
Yeah, he's another character that's kind of the same guy from the other movie, but not dead. He's back and dies again.
And he kidnaps a girl. We cut back to Colin Clive where the new heart is pumping and working. He's like, yes, this heart's working. And he goes, Dwight Frye goes, yeah, it was a fresh one. And then Thesiger gives him this look. And he's like, where'd you get this one? It's like, dude, he fucking killed her and cut it. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to have a scene in Bride of Frankenstein where he goes and kills somebody else to try to like lead them thinking that the monster, I don't know, something like that. There was a scene of him out a window. Have you seen that?
I don't know.
It's a still of him like looking through a window.
Oh,
I think they just put it on their Facebook page recently, actually, when they were showing all the different Renfields. Yeah. That's
fucked up,
really
dude.
Creepy in that. Carl, I think his name is.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And Fritz was the other one. Yeah, it's basically the same character a little bit.
Yeah.
But he loved Dwight Frye, so he wanted to put him in the movie again, even though he died.
I also love Dwight Frye. I think he's great.
They had to kill him too, because in Frankenstein they kill Fritz because he's torturing the monster.
For no reason,
Bride of Frankenstein. Well, no, the monster would kill him after he was torturing him because he fought back.
Well,
it made sense.
My question is, like, I think Frankenstein's perfect.
But why was he torturing
him?
him? Yeah, I have no idea.
That
made no sense. Also, why he drops the brain and stuff. The whole criminal brain and the monster thing goes nowhere. That was only put in that movie because it was the Hays Code, or they needed to have some reason. Like, he doesn't even have an abnormal brain.
It's just a big red herring.
There's no Hays Code yet, but the whole thing about, like, why the monster is evil or something. He's a criminal brain, but it does nothing. But then with the second one, with the Hays Code, is because Carl kills that woman.
Yeah. Because
he killed somebody, he has to die, so the monster just randomly throws him off the building.
Also, I want to shout out the score. Is very good.
Franz Waxman, who did Sunset Boulevard.
No shit, I didn't know that.
That's yeah, it's really good. That dun 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 dun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Great score in Bride of Frankenstein. Great. And you're right. The third act of that movie, Bride of Frankenstein, is the best of all Universal monster movies by far.
It's the best ending, I think.
It's the best. Yeah. I love it.
The Mummy doesn't have that great of an ending. He kind of just disintegrates onto the floor. So he takes like 6 hours to plunge a knife into her.
He's like, "Go, you live. You
Yeah, yeah,
stay. We
yeah,
belong dead.
and then she hisses at
Yeah. Then she hisses, then he
Yeah, that's
cries.
the best ending. They knew how to end movies too back then, back in the
Yeah.
day. They knew how to open and end movies because Sunset Boulevard, all the Billy Wilder movies have memorable endings. That movie, The Letter, with Betty Davis, it opens up with her shooting that guy at the beginning. That's like incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they knew what was up. All right, so that's Bride. So you want to talk about some of the? We can't talk about all the sequels, but you at least want to talk about some of the Frankenstein sequels.
I'll just list them off and just like
I
give a.
think Son of Frankenstein is great.
Yeah. I like
think
it.
that one's on par with the other two, even though people don't think so because it's not directed by James Whale.
So I gave Frankenstein and Bride 10 out of 10s. I gave Son an 8 out of 10. I think it's great. I think it's really, the characters are really well developed. I care for them, even though they're all new. I like what's his name? Who plays the son of Frankenstein? What's his name?
The little kid? Oh, you mean the guy?
Yes, the guy.
The guy who played Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, what is his fucking name?
Jesus Christ. He was in Adventures of Robin Hood. And he was Basil Rathbone.
Yes, he's excellent. Karloff's excellent. Lugosi's awesome. I think
oh my
it's
God,
really good.
Lugosi is so cool because came back again as Igor and it sucked.
Yeah.
It sucked because the tone is totally different in Ghost.
Yeah. Well,
in Son of Frankenstein, he's so creepy.
Yeah, Ghost is terrible because Lon Chaney's the monster. He looks awful as the monster.
So the way it's lit and stuff, it's just stupid. Like
that's when they just stopped caring. That's when they just stopped caring.
I mean, all the shadows and stuff in Son of Frankenstein, the way that Igor is, he's so scary, and then he's like a goof.
Yeah, he's like, "We'll take over the world." It's like that's so stupid. It's just they turned the B movies.
It felt cheap. Except I did like. I mean, Ghost is okay. I don't think it's like a horrible movie.
I love the title.
But Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, I liked.
That one is excellent. I think that actually.
I also do like Lugosi as the monster. I just wish they wouldn't have screwed him over.
Yeah.
Cutting all his dialogue and making him walk with his arms outstretched, even though we don't know that he's blind anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
And everybody mimics the freaking Frankenstein monster stretching his arms out, even though he never did because he was blind.
I don't get the dialogue thing because he has dialogue in Ghost for like 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. But
they apparently it was okay with him speaking in Igor's voice in the first one or the second, whatever that movie, and then they do the next one and they all laughed at it.
I don't know, but that beginning
movies, this was when it was like, I mean, these movies are kind of crap. I mean, even though I do think they're fine for the most part. I mean, not so much like Ghost of Frankenstein or House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula or whatever.
I like House of Frankenstein.
But these were not. I mean, these are not the same thing. I think once they did Ghost, I mean, Son of Frankenstein, I really feel like that was kind of the last one. Except, of course, the Wolfman. I think the Wolfman's awesome in Frankenstein meets... What the heck am I saying? Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Yeah. Wolfman's cool in that, too.
That's
even though it makes no sense, because now it's like, how many years later is he? It's like Claude Rains' character is dead. He's in, like, the crypt.
Well, continuity-wise, they really didn't... Because...
No, they make no sense.
It's like there's cars, right? And then the Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, they're horse and buggy again. So it went backwards in time.
Well, there were also horse and buggies in the first Wolfman too, but they get rid of the cars completely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously they didn't.
Maria Lutskaya comes back.
I like her
from Dodsworth, and she was in Love Affair and stuff. Yeah, she plays the Gypsy lady, which
great character.
She can't have that anymore either. But the Gypsy woman is awesome in that.
Great character.
I like her a lot. I love the line when she tells Lon Chaney in The Wolfman that, you know, whoever is bitten by a werewolf or a wolf and lives will become a werewolf. That is like the most, like, that whole movie, like when she says that line, it makes you believe that it's a real thing.
Which I can't wait to talk about that one because I have a controversial opinion about that one.
All right, so let's go to that. So let's go to the Wolfman. Actually, wait, before we do the Wolfman, because we have a few more, let's do the Black Cat and the Raven, and then we'll do the Creature of the Wolfman, Phantom Remake, and Abbott and Costello. All right, so what about Black Cat and the Raven, the Lugosi and Karloff team-ups? Because we kind of forgot about that. I missed that.
Let me see.
I like the Black Cat and the Raven. Lugosi's performance in The Raven is the most over-the-top thing I've ever seen in a movie, and it's amazing.
Doesn't the Raven
it is incredible.
Doesn't the Raven have that giant blade that like swings back and forth?
Yeah, he builds... because it's not the same... It's not has anything to do with this freaking Poe story. I think the one with Vincent Price might have a little bit more to do with that, I think. I don't know. But the one is like Lugosi has these people in his house, and he builds like this torture chamber. And he's in love with this woman that he saved from a car accident, but she doesn't want to marry him, So he kidnaps her dad, played by the dad from It's a Wonderful Life, and he ties him up in the basement, and he's like, I like to torture.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked
His
up, man.
acting is like nobody else could act like this, and it could work. I mean, he is so over the top in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
he's like Poe, you are avenged. Like, what? I don't know. It's so weird. And then he like mutates Carlos' face, and he's like laughing hysterically. He's like, "You're a monster ugliness." Like, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's wild and fucked up and goofy. I like that one.
Yeah, yeah. The one that gets more respect was the Black Cat, which is the one that
Which I love that
Lugosi
one.
plays. Lugosi skins Karloff alive.
Yes, which is super cool.
And messes up the pronunciation of the. I don't know what he's trying to say. Is he trying to say like he's gonna like flay the skin off his body or something?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna flare the skin from your body. That's awesome. And Karloff plays like a Satanist, like friggin' devil worshipping like David Bowie in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. That's a good one too. Those are great movies. And those don't get known as much as the other ones, even though those are ones where the whole movies work. As opposed to just being the monster and somebody else and then the other characters just standing around. Those ones, the whole film works.
The Black Cat's also
times.
directed by I think his name's Edgar Ulmer or Edward Ulmer.
Yeah, he got fired because he slept with the Leslie's niece or whatever, his daughter.
And he also made a good film noir called Detour. If you ever seen that before?
I've seen that. Yeah,
I like that one.
That's really nihilistic too.
Yeah, Detour is a classic film noir. It has all the tropes and cliches, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it's made for like $3.
Yeah, yeah. No,
you could do it. You can make a movie work out of anything as long as you have a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, they made it work. All right, so we're done with the Black Cat and the Raven. Those are great movies. I know the Raven gets like it's not as good, but I think Lugosi's performance in that movie is just wild.
I like Lugosi and Karloff together.
Even one, but they made a couple other movies together. But like the Invisible Raven, I thought that one was kind of not so
that
great.
one started off so good, but it ended so bad.
Yeah, it was a little weird. But there's one part in the Raven where I think they used Frankenstein like monster sound effect for Karloff, and he's mad. I think they just inserted that in.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Also, it sucked because you had like Karloff with just his last name, and then Lugosi would always be billed as like Bela Dracula Lugosi. They always gave him like second billing, even though he was the star of the Raven. It's not. That's not like in the Black Cat they're even, but in the Raven that's Lugosi movie. Karloff is basically just the stooge or whatever. Even though he's good in it too, but it's definitely Lugosi's movie. All right, let's do the Wolfman.
All right, I like this one. Don't get me wrong. I think it's one of the best ones too. But
I watched this movie 3 times last Halloween.
I
know they're only an hour each, but I watched it like 3 times.
I hate the first act. I think hate's a strong word. I don't like the first act because it's just the main character is such a fucking creep. I can't stand it because he spies on the love interest through a telescope, goes to the shop, says, what about those earrings on your dresser? And she is taken back, of course, like, what? And then he's like, why don't you go on a date with me? And she's like, kind of like not into it, but then she fucking agrees for some reason because why? And then even though she's engaged, right? So then that takes them to the fair to where they're walking around talking, and then that's where he gets bit by the wolf. I'm like, why did they do that? Why could he just fucking have a normal conversation? Like, go to the store.
Also, he's supposed to be Claude Rains' son.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which he's like, first of all, he's like 50.
They look the same age.
Also, he's 50.
Yeah.
And also, he's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
And Claude Rains is like 5'6".
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, Claude Rains is British.
Yeah.
And he's not. And then, like, I think he is supposed to be younger than he is. Like, he's supposed to have, like, this boyish charm to him.
Yeah.
He's, like, clearly, like, way older than he's supposed to be. And, yeah, he's a creep. But, I don't know, I kind of like that it is another one of those sympathetic ones.
Yeah.
Because the ending where it's another one of the best endings for any of these movies. When he beats his son to death with that cane. I mean, oh my god. I mean, that is like, because it's also Claude Rains. I mean, he could sell anything.
It's very disturbing.
I mean, Claude Rains is a great actor, so when he's like looking at him transform again and realizes what he did, I mean, that is just. And then Maria Usmanskaya stuff. Yeah, Lon Chaney's acting is a little weird. I mean, he's a little, I don't know. But the Wolfman makeup, I think, is cool.
It's amazing.
I mean,
it's amazing.
I think it's real cool. I don't know. I could see it. It definitely is not like a perfect movie or anything, but I think that one's pretty rewatchable.
I like
I
the
watched it
music.
3 times last. Oh, the music that freaking Danny Elfman stole for Batman. You notice
Well,
that?
here's the thing with the Wolfman score. They use that in other Universal Monster movies, and it's like, how would we not notice? Because it's so distinct, you know?
Yeah, but did you notice that there's a part in that movie with certain notes of that music that are the Batman theme from the Tim Burton Batman?
Honestly, I haven't noticed that, and I love that
I don't
Batman
know if
theme.
that was just a coincidence, but there's one part in the movie where it's literally the same music from Batman. It was made 40 years before, or almost 50 years before. I don't know. Maybe Danny Elfman just heard it and it was in the back of his mind.
You know, I gotta look that up and see for myself because I haven't heard
Yeah,
that.
it's the same notes. It's like this other movie where it came out before Jaws, where they used the same music from Jaws, and the movie came out like 40 years before.
Gotcha.
It's got to be a coincidence. Either that or they just heard it and it's stuck in their minds. Because obviously you can't make everything original. But yeah, the same notes. Yeah. Once you hear that Wolfman part, it's like when he's like going to her window at night and trying to get her out. You know, the girl he plays that score from Batman. And you're like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was pretty cool. All right, so the Wolfman we like. So let's do. How about the Phantom of the Opera remake? Did you see that?
I love that one. I think it's my favorite Phantom of the Opera version because Claude Rains, and it's just so tragic, so gorgeous. It actually won an Oscar for best cinematography, which is super cool.
I still have to watch it because it was in the theater, but I didn't see it.
Oh,
It was on a double feature with you know how Fathom Events did the
yeah.
monster ones for their Blu-rays the last 2 years, for the 4Ks. I think they did it for the Blu-rays too, but they did them again, and that was with Creature from the Black Lagoon, but I didn't see it.
Oh, that'd
No,
be
I'll have to
cool.
watch it because I love Claude Rains, but it doesn't have the makeup,
I mean, his
classic makeup.
his makeup. I'm not gonna spoil it.
It's
Is very
Burns, right? No,
cool.
it's Burns, isn't it? Burns? Isn't he like red on one side or something, like all
I don't want to say it.
mutated?
I want you to see it for
I've
yourself.
seen it still. I've seen it. I just don't
Oh,
remember what it looked like. It was like mush.
it's like a
Yeah.
purple acid stain. I think it looks
Okay,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, so I'll have to watch that one. I'll get to it eventually. All right, what about? Did you ever see any of the Rondo Hatton movies? You know who Rondo Hatton is?
I don't know who that is.
He was this actor who was had a disformity where he had like a big face. I think it's called like megalo dystrophy or something. Have you ever seen the movie The Rocketeer?
In the '90s?
The Rocketeer movie, the Disney one, the Touchstone one.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It was from like no, yeah, the '90s one, yeah, the one where the guy flies around in a jetpack.
Yeah, I haven't seen that
But what
one.
happened was there was a villain in it, a henchman, and they used Rondo Hatton's face as like a model for him. So I watched that movie, and then I ended up going back and watching these movies. They basically exploited this guy. He played the Creeper in a Sherlock Holmes movie with Basil Rathbone, and then played the Creeper in a couple other movies before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to mention them because they were weird. I mean, they try to make him sympathetic, but he just murders everybody. You can look that up. It's called The Creeper or something with Rondo Hatton.
Okay.
They have an award now that people like what's his face who directed Gremlins got the Rondo Hatton Award, I think. Who directed Gremlins? What's the guy's name?
Gremlins.
Freaking
Joe Dante.
who directed The Howling? Yeah, yeah.
Joe
I didn't
Dante.
like The Howling that much either.
I haven't seen the Howling, honestly.
The Howling was Gremlins is good. What's funny is in Gremlins, did you ever with the part when the woman goes flying out the window? You know, Mrs. Deagle.
Mm-hmm.
On the wall, they actually got the rights to use a portrait of what's his face, Edward Arnold as her husband, because in the old movies he used to play like the evil bankers and stuff. So they
Okay.
got the rights from his estate to use his picture in that. If you ever watch that, maybe you'll know. I don't know. That's just something I wanted to say. All right,
Cool.
last one, and then we're gonna do Abbott and Costello.
Okay.
Movies. Even though it's only one, because I haven't seen the other ones. Creature from the Black Lagoon. I know there's the Mole People, which I haven't seen, and This Planet Earth or whatever, where they got that Selena monster thing that gets all the toys and stuff. But whatever. Let's just do Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's the last one. You know what I'm talking about? The Mutilena monster or whatever. The big head and the claws. Gets like toys and stuff of him. It's from this island. Whatever. He's sometimes included with the Universal Monsters, but I never seen that. All right, what about Gilman?
Love Gilman. I think Creature from the Black Lagoon is one of the best of the Universal Monster movies. I think the underwater shots are so incredibly well done.
The freaking the Jaws shots.
Yes, I love those shots where you just see like her legs and he comes up and like tries to touch her, and it's just so creepy because I'm scared of water. I do not go near like lakes or oceans. Pools are different, obviously, but like big bodies of water, I just stay away from because they just creep me the fuck out. And Creature from the Black Lagoon is obviously it's a fucking movie, but like it creeps me out because the design of the creature is so awesome, which was done
it's
by a
perfect.
woman.
They put so much work into that suit.
Yeah.
Like detail work into that suit. I don't usually, I don't know, I think I've said it once on the internet, but the Gilman rubber suit is the best one, and it's better than the Alien and the Predator.
Oh, it's
I know people love
agree.
the Xenomorph, but in that original Alien movie, when that Xenomorph comes out at the end and goes flying out of the ship, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
And it gets smacks up against the side of the ship. Like, it looks awful.
Yeah.
Oh, I just think that they hit him in the shadows, obviously. But the Creature from the Lagoon, you see him right out there, right in the open.
Yeah.
You don't hide anything in that movie, and you see his little rubber fingers bouncing and stuff, which is kind of funny. But no, I think it's great. I think it's the best monster like that. I don't know, the human characters in that movie, they really suck.
Yeah,
They're not interesting at all.
Yeah.
And you don't care at all what happens to any of these people. And I just feel a little mixed on that because I like the creature, obviously, and I don't want him to die at the end, and they freaking kill him.
Yeah, they go to his place and kill him.
They pollute the water. It's that one shot that I don't think was intentionally done in a way, but it ends up being like that, where she drops her cigarette in the water and he looks up
at
her, and it's almost as if he's looking up at the fact that they literally just littered in the water. So
yeah,
I do like it a lot. I don't know. It's like King Kong. In King Kong, you like the monster, you feel sympathetic, but the characters, man, it's like, we're supposed to like these people?
Mm-hmm.
So I hate them. And they're boring as hell, and they're also, like, not morally great people at all. They're just horrible. But also, what's-her-face looks pretty good. Julie Adams in that movie.
Yes. Yeah, she's a good character.
Yeah, that definitely has one of the best monsters, though. Did you see the NECA figure that's coming out of that? I think I posted that.
No, but that's cool.
Oh my god, they did such... And it's just like a little tiny... It looks really good. Yeah, I think they're going to make a set where you get, like, the harpoon... And also you get the fossilized hand, the one sticking out of the rock. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's do the last one, and then we can talk about some of the modern things, and you can tell me how you liked Renfield and stuff. Last one, I know they made like 20 movies, but you've seen Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, right?
Yeah, and listen, I'm a fan of the Three Stooges. My dad loves them. I've seen almost every episode. I like that style of comedy, especially for how it was back then. Abbott and Costello, no, I'm not a fan. I don't think they're very funny.
Don't like Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein?
I like it. I think it's okay, but I like it for the fact that Lugosi's in it, Lon Chaney's in it. Glenn Strange is a good monster. I like his look. I like his performance. I just can't stand Abbott and Costello. They're not funny. Costello is not funny to me, so it's just a drag.
I will say that, look, I'm glad they got Lugosi back. I have no idea. Like, it makes no sense to me how popular he was for those, how many years was it, like 18 years? 17 years since from Dracula to Abbott and Costello?
Yeah.
And he was never Dracula again, officially.
It's fucking stupid. It makes no
movie,
sense.
even though the public wanted it. He was on the stage as Dracula. He was at events as Dracula. He was in Return of the Vampire as a fake Dracula.
Which is a good movie.
He was in Mark of the Vampire as a fake Dracula. And then he comes back, and he's still good in it, but it's not a serious movie anymore.
No, it's
so
goofy.
His Dracula in that movie is not as creepy as he was in regular Dracula. Even though he turns into a bat, which is cool, because you never see that in any of the other movies. And they use the Woody Woodpecker animation for it.
Mm-hmm.
On the same studio, for whatever made Woody Woodpecker, I don't know. And it looks pretty good.
Oh, it does look good.
It looks like if they used that in a serious movie, that wouldn't have been so bad, I think. I think that would have been a cool way to do that.
I will say what's funny is how the monsters are playing it seriously, while the two idiots are playing for comedy.
Yeah,
I do like that aspect.
Yeah, but they are downgraded. I mean, the monsters, like, I don't know.
They're just not funny.
Frankenstein just goes around walking into walls and smashing around and stuff.
Yeah, walks right in the fire.
But it's hilarious, though, when they're on the tables next to each other and, like, they're fighting over Costello or whatever is on the table and pushing him around. He's, like, spinning around.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I like the fight scene.
Or Dracula throws, like, a shoe Like the Wolfman. Also, that's dumb though. Like the Wolfman grabs Dracula as a bat and then just like commits suicide.
Yeah, the deaths are stupid, but Vincent Price makes a cameo as the Invisible Man at the end, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, he was in the sequel. I mean, I wish that was Claude Rains, but
Oh,
yeah.
those sequels are fucking the Invisible Man
I don't see
sequels.
any. I would not. I don't want to watch any. I really don't. Other than
Don't
Frankenstein, I don't really care about the
don't
sequels.
watch. Listen, the only sequels I'd recommend for you is the Creature of the Black Lagoon sequels. They're actually good.
Yeah, maybe they bring him back. They try to turn him human, I guess,
That's the third one.
or
The third one,
human.
so the second
Yeah.
one is kind of like basic, but it's still good. The third one, The Creature Walks Among Us, I think is excellent. It's fucking weird. It is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen, but it works. It works for me at least. I think
Isn't
you like
there
it.
an in joke? Isn't there a reference in that movie to No, isn't Clint Eastwood in that?
Clint Eastwood's in the second one
Because I remember
for like
in
two
the
seconds.
third Back to the Future, or is it maybe one of the Back to the Future movies, Marty is standing. I think it's the third one because he's in the Wild West and he's in a cowboy outfit. And he says something about Clint Eastwood in that cowboy outfit, and behind him is the poster for the second Creature from the Black Lagoon that he's in.
Yeah, he's in the second one for like
Yeah,
2 seconds.
there's an in joke. Yeah, there's an in
Yeah,
joke in Back to the Future about him being in the because that was his first movie, I think.
yeah.
Also with the Wolfman, don't they like cure him in like the other one? But then he's back to being a Wolfman and Abbott and
Yeah,
Costello.
yeah.
Why'd they cure him? He should have just died. First movie. See, the thing about the Universal monster movies is the original movies are really. I mean, it's separate. You get to all the sequels. I guess Bride and Son kind of for Frankenstein, you could kind of say is the same continuity. But then again, they were gonna have a scene in Son where they show you the remains of the bride, and they just cut that out.
Oh, really?
You never know what the hell happened to her. Also, the whole land looks different.
Yeah,
The castles all look
it's kind of
different.
like
The
a
towns
epilogue,
flip-flop.
you know?
Yeah, there was supposed to be a whole thing where the monster rips that guy's arm off. We never see that. It's like, what will they do with that in the Mel Brooks movie? You know, the guy with the wooden arm.
Yeah, yeah.
Which do you like Young Frankenstein? That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's an homage to all the Frankensteins. You know, the one people don't like is Dracula Dead and Loving It, and I don't think it's that bad. People hate that movie. Have you seen that?
I haven't, no.
Okay, I like it. I think the guy who plays Renfield in that movie is basically just a reincarnation of Dwight Fry. He
Good to
plays
know.
it just the exact same way that Dwight Fry played it, but because it's hilarious in the Dracula movie, it's campy, he fits right into a comedy.
Right.
All right, so that's Abbott and Costello. Let's finish this up. Let's talk about some of the newer ones, meaning like the last freaking 40 years or whatever, because I like Monster Squad. That was pretty good. What about some of these newer ones, Renfield and stuff? Which ones do you like?
The modern ones?
Yeah, because I've seen none of these. I just know about them, of course. I don't think I'm going to watch any of them.
So my favorite modern Universal monster movie has to be The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro. I think it's excellent.
It was Rick Baker that did the makeup for that.
Yeah. It's gothic, it's well shot, Del Toro's great, everyone's great. I actually prefer that film to the original because the character of Lawrence is actually not a fucking creep. He's like he's a normal character whose motivations make sense. I'm not gonna spoil it, but like he's a decent person who unfortunately goes through that tragic storyline. It's very good. I think he's
Is it like horrifically? Is it like violent though as hell? What they do with all the remakes? And, like, people talk about the blood and stuff. Like
there's
just like
blood.
ripping people apart.
There's blood, but you don't like see like. I mean,
That's like the default in these remakes is that they just like turn it up to 11.
Well, you don't see him like ripping people apart. You see like the aftermath and like it kind of cuts away and you see like aftermath, I guess. But
I think it's hilarious that the only thing they could do with any of these remakes is just like up the special effect. You know what I mean? Like it's just like goes like it's on crack.
Well,
What they do with all the remakes, basically. They just like turn it up where it's like, okay, now the monster, like in Alien Covenant that came out,
that's
like in 2017.
Yeah,
he was like smacking his head up against the wall. Like, what the hell is that?
Well, I think because modern movies can get away with it. You know, back in the day,
they don't have to,
they couldn't do that.
Which ended
or
up
probably
helping
wouldn't
them
even do
because
that.
It had to be. It was a restraint.
Yeah.
Because of the restraints of older movies, you had to be clever about how you show things.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do whatever you wanted. Now you can do whatever you want, and they forget that movies are not just a complete schlock fest where you just have a monster banging its head up against the wall.
Right.
Which then, because all these movies are remakes, it doesn't line up or sequels with the other movies. Like when Darth Vader was hacking people to death at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
It takes place 2 seconds before the first movie. He never does anything like that again.
Yeah.
It's like, what is that? Like, that doesn't make any sense anymore. You ruin the continuity.
Yeah, well,
So
Disney
it's just
doesn't
stuff
care.
like that. Yeah, it's like video game shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So what about Renfield? Did you like Renfield?
I did. Renfield is very goofy. It's very over the top. It's very
Yeah,
silly.
it's so very comedic. I don't know. I wanted to see it maybe for Nicolas Cage, but I would. He should be a real Dracula,
Well,
like an actual real Dracula movie.
if you're not a fan of over the top violence, then Renfield's not for you because it is
But it's
very
like, isn't like
gory.
CGI? Like, isn't like CGI blood and stuff? Like they rip people's arms off and things.
Heads ripped off, blood gushing.
Uh,
It's very
I
violent.
don't know.
It's very, very
Just
violent.
I'm not a big fan of like because every movie now when you go on Twitter they're like, oh, this is so campy. It's like the whole campy thing has just been destroyed.
It is camp.
You know
Like
what a
Renfield
camp
is
movie
campy
is, what a
though.
cult movie is. I just out of the humor part, I don't know. I mean, Nick Cage is probably good in it.
Oh,
I
he's
saw
very
it.
good. I like him as
He's
Dracula.
barely in it.
He's over the
They
top as
released that
hell.
poster. Like they released a cool poster of him with the which they used the font from the Lugosi version, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But the posters of him, like he's got the cape over him, like Lugosi stuff. That looks awesome, but it's not a real Dracula movie.
Right.
Just make a real Dracula movie where he looks like that. Oh, but you know the thing is, you look at that Lugosi movie, they look at his performance, and they go, the only way we could do this now is if it's a joke. And I think that's disrespectful because if they made a real movie where he was acting like that, over the top or whatever, and they treated it seriously, it's like a joke now.
Yeah.
Oh, look how campy it is. It's like, no, it's not campy. When Lugosi made Dracula, it was a serious thing. I know it's been 90 years, but like, it's not a joke. Now they can't make a serious Dracula movie anymore because if Nick Cage was hamming it up, oh, that's not serious. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. They can't bring these monsters back, I don't think. Are they really going to make a creature from the Black Lagoon again? What's he going to do, rip people's heads off?
I don't see. Here's the thing,
Like rip their spinal cords out or something? Like what's he going to do?
did you see the Invisible Man for the 2020?
No, I did. That was ridiculous. I did not need the Invisible Man to be like a weird ex-boyfriend creeper guy. That was weird.
It's not good. I didn't like it. It's not it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but like you're right. I don't think you can modernize.
No, you can't
these
because
monsters.
the acting is way too over the top. The way these are horror movies, so they could get away with being that way, but they're too scared to do that. And I don't think. First of all, the actors we have nowadays are nowhere near as good as the ones that played them originally.
Well,
who the hell are you going to get to play the Invisible Man? That's not Claude Rains, like a Claude Rains equivalent.
here's a question for you. Guillermo del Toro made the Shape of Water, which is not really a remake.
That's when she falls in love with it. Yeah, because he wanted the creature to have a happy ending when he saw the movie.
Yeah. Have you seen that one?
No, but I mean that's okay, I guess. It's like his fantasy.
The fantasy. It is kind of weird, but like I'm excited for his version of Frankenstein because he has like a fantastical style.
Yeah. No, they get like these real like him and Robert Eggers and stuff. That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of wish they would just make original stuff like this, but they can't. They gotta just remake it. But whatever. But what they really should have done, and I said this on Twitter a bunch of times, is that if Hollywood actually made like actual like art now and not just like complete crap,
Yeah.
what they would do is they would make $40 to $50 million, or even $100 million, even though I don't think it needs to be that much money, but whatever. They would make a whole line of Universal monster movies again. And they don't shoot on film anymore, so I don't know if it could ever look as good if they shoot black and white digitally, but they would be super low budget. It would be in black and white. It would not have any of that action crap going on.
Yeah.
None of that shit. No action crap. And they would be like real horror movies again, like small horror movies. They get a real director to make them. I don't know, I guess different directors directed all the originals, but just do it like that. And then have a whole line of them, but they're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They want to follow the Marvel line. They want them to be action-y. And I don't think we have actors anymore, at least with big personalities. And I think those movies definitely, like, who's like Boris Karloff or Lugosi or Claude Rains or Ernest Thesiger? There's nobody like that anymore.
No.
Or Dwight Fry. They don't have personalities in Hollywood anymore. They got rid of that. So it'll just be too weird. They're going to play it too straight, and when they try to play it goofy, it's just awkward.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't Russell Crowe like the freaking Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde
I
in
didn't
that
see
Mummy movie?
I saw parts of it, but yeah.
It just is embarrassing.
Yeah,
I think especially these movies, even more so because they are horror movies, they are fantasy movies. It's like when Mila Kunis played the Wicked Witch of the West. It's like
I didn't see that, but I know
like,
what you're talking
what
about.
in the hell is that? Like, you cannot do this again. You cannot
What's
bring
that?
a modern person to play a fantasy role from 80 years ago.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. It was a different acting style. You can't do it. They don't seem to touch, like, you notice how in Hollywood, the movies they remake, they don't seem to touch the movies that were not like fantasy things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't remake Casablanca. They don't remake All About Eve. They don't remake Citizen Kane or anything like that.
Yeah.
They remake the fantasy films because the fantasy films are a blank slate. You can't remake All About Eve because who the hell is going to sit through that? A bunch of adults drinking cocktails and talking. Nobody's going to watch that. So they remake
True.
the fantasy films that have a blank slate, and they make them crap because when you have a blank slate, you can you can get garbage pretty easily, like Willy Wonka with Johnny Depp or any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have the people making these earlier movies anymore who were born in like 1902. Then would go on to make Dracula, Frankenstein, or Willy Wonka or Wizard of Oz. They're all dead. Now you have these movies being remade made by people that were born like 1990. It's shit.
Yeah.
You don't have the sensibilities anymore of somebody born in the late 1800s, early 1900s that it's going to make Dracula. And wants to make it, with an appeal to them. Now they want to appeal to their crowd, and it's not. It's bad. It's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to be able to recapture this again. Maybe if a real director like Guillermo or Robert Eggers does it, like every now and then, fine. But they're never going to get like a whole universe again like this. I don't think. I don't think the fantasy with adult appeal thing is just dead. I think it's dead.
Well, the funny thing is with the Wolfman remake, they could have, if they would have taken that approach with all the other monsters, the whole line of them. It maybe could have worked. Maybe is the key word, but obviously the Wolfman flopped hard because no one likes good movies, so they just decided not to. And then they made Dracula Untold, which I like as a kind of a like.
Wasn't that very actiony though?
Yeah, it is very actiony, but like.
Not even in the original movies, all they do is walk around.
It is dumb, but I had fun with it.
Yeah, but in the original movies, like, all they do is, like, walk around.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even see any fangs in Dracula. He never even bites anybody on the neck that you see, like, in the promotional art. Well, Lugosi at that woman's neck. You never see that in the movie.
Well, Netflix made a Dracula miniseries, which I would recommend to you. You probably wouldn't like it, but it's...
So much Dracula stuff. There's been so many Dracula. I'm not the biggest Dracula fan. I just, happen to like, the two performances, Lugosi and Max Schreck.
Yeah, they do have a lot of Dracula stuff. What about
Coppola's Dracula? So much Dracula. I didn't see that one, but I know about it, yeah.
That's a good one. I would recommend. It's very gothic and well-made, and it's not actiony. I think you'd like that one.
But the bringing back the Universal Monsters thing it's definitely a good thing when you look back and you say these are how they made them back then, and the benefits of older American cinema or older cinema in general versus now.
Yeah.
And we're in such a weird time because they're remaking everything.
Yeah.
Practically everything that anybody, even one person remembers, remaking it. You have this opportunity to go back to all those original films and see how they were done back then, and it's very strange because I don't know, I just think it's very juvenile. Because if they made a Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is one I think that would, if they had made that in the 80s, I think it would have been pretty cool.
Oh, that'd have been cool.
If they have made, because I know Rick Baker and John Landis and somebody else, Todd something, who directed Texas Chainsaw? I don't know, somebody wanted to remake. Hooper. Or John Carpenter was going to remake. I don't remember, somebody was going to do it. We're going to remake The Creature from the Black Lagoon. If they had done that in the 80s, it would have worked. I still would have liked the one from the 50s better, but it would have been on par with The Blob and The Thing and all that. Mm-hmm. That ship is, it's over. It was supposed to be another Blob movie with Samuel L. Jackson. It got canceled. Or Scarlett Johansson was supposed to be in The Creature from the Black Lagoon. The ship has sailed. They're not going to be able to redo this. So they are remaking Them. Did you hear about that?
Them, with the exclamation point?
Ants, yeah.
Yeah, I did hear about that one, yeah.
Michael Giacchino, who did the music for Up and The Incredibles, is having his directorial debut.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
Writing a freaking monster movie that your grandpa remembers from 75 years ago called Them, about radioactive killer ants. They have no idea who the hell wants... And actually, Them is a pretty good movie. It's actually not that bad. They play it pretty straight. It's good. Mm-hmm. But what the hell is that? Them? Who wants to see a giant killer ants movie?
Yeah, especially this day and age.
I don't get it. It's gonna be giant CGI ants. Like the poster for that movie was like misleading. They're like destroying a city. They never do anything like that in the movie. I don't know, but this was pretty good. We talked about a lot of things.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it was. So, all right. So let me sign off, and then we'll talk for a little bit, and then I'll go. So let's see. So